In the last quarter of 2024, over 20 million egg-laying chickens were culled. Since 2022, that number has climbed past 150 million. USDA data suggests that anywhere from 40 to 60 million birds were depopulated in 2024 alone, and even that is likely an undercount. One thing is certain: during any crisis, someone profits. So if egg prices are soaring, why isn't the cost of chicken following suit? Tonight, we're stacking the facts against speculation, peeling back the layers of the bird flu crisis to uncover the real truth. What's really happening behind the headlines? And who, if anyone, stands to gain? Stay tuned, folks. You're not going to want to miss this. Welcome to American Outdoors. The numbers tell a stark story. Since 2022, the deadliest avian flu outbreak in U.S. history has swept across the nation, crippling egg production and devastating states like Colorado and Texas. Supply has collapsed. By January 2025, egg prices shattered records, soaring to $4.95 per dozen, a staggering 65% jump in just 2 years. Stores like Aldi and Costco are rationing eggs, limiting how many customers can buy. Meanwhile, restaurants like Waffle House are tacking on 50-cent surcharges per egg, a cost once unthinkable. And the crisis isn't over. The USDA warns of yet another 20% price hike this year, citing ongoing disruptions. It takes 6 months to rebuild a lost flock, and the clock is ticking. Meanwhile, desperation is setting in. In early February, 100,000 organic eggs, worth over $40,000, vanished, stolen from a distribution trailer in south-central Pennsylvania. It's a brazen act that underscores the severity of the situation. At its core, the equation seems simple: fewer hens, fewer eggs, higher prices. But is there more to the story? There are at least 30,000, if not many more, commercial egg producers in the United States. Every single day, 250 million eggs are produced. Some destined for consumption, others set aside to sustain future flocks. But this raises a critical question. Why would the egg market be manipulated while the meat industry is not? The answer is surprisingly straightforward. Meat chickens, broilers, are harvested at just 7.5 weeks old. Their short life cycle allows producers to replace lost birds quickly, keeping supply stable. Egg-laying hens? A different story. They take 6 long months before they lay their first egg. That's a massive delay, one that makes recovery far more difficult. And when millions of birds are wiped out in a matter of weeks, that delay turns into a crisis. The H5N1 bird flu isn't some distant science experiment. It's real, and it's right here in our own front yards. It's not just chickens. This virus has affected turkeys, ducks, geese, eagles, hawks, owls, everything from gulls to pelicans. Over 80 species in the US alone have been impacted, and it doesn't stop with birds. Mammals like cats, foxes, bears, raccoons, and even some cows have tested positive. Then there are the pigs. Sporadic cases, but enough to raise some eyebrows. Why? Because pigs have a way of mixing viruses, potentially cooking up a strain that's more human-friendly. And that's where things get interesting. Is there a cure? No. No magic pill, no quick fix. When it comes to H5N1, there's no specific cure. For infected poultry, the solution is as brutal as it is effective: culling. One positive PCR test can mean the difference between business as usual and the mass killing of tens of thousands of birds. It's not pretty, but it's how outbreaks are contained. For humans, the approach is different. Supportive care, oxygen therapy, fluids, treating secondary infections can improve the odds. Scientists are working on vaccines, but for now, widespread availability remains limited. And here's the kicker. If H5N1 mutates into a strain that spreads easily among humans, global health agencies will have to scramble to ramp up vaccine production and distribution. We've been down that road before, folks, and that ain't good. So, where and when did this virus originate? Ground Zero was a goose farm in Guangdong Province, southern China, in 1996, a region packed with poultry markets and migratory birds. Scientists figure it jumped from wild birds, ducks, geese, the usual suspects, into domestic flocks. These wild birds carry flu viruses like silent assassins, showing no symptoms, but spreading them far and wide. And sometimes, all it takes is a single dropping from an infected bird during a flyover to set off a chain reaction. But H5N1 didn't make global headlines until 1997, when it infected humans in Hong Kong. That outbreak resulted in 18 confirmed cases and 6 deaths. To stop the virus in its tracks, Hong Kong authorities took drastic action, culling 1.5 million chickens. It worked for a while, but H5N1 didn't disappear. It just moved on, hitching rides with migratory birds and spreading across Asia, Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Since then, H5N1 has caused sporadic human infections with a staggering 50% mortality rate. It doesn't spread easily between people, yet. But if that ever changes, well, let's just say scientists are keeping a very close watch. Because if it does, that could be a game changer. So, how'd it start? H5N1 likely began when 2 different flu strains infected the same bird, swapping gene segments like a microscopic game of mix and match. The result? A virus with a highly pathogenic tag. Because it doesn't just infect birds, it kills them fast and ugly, attacking their guts and lungs with brutal efficiency. The crowded wet markets and poultry farms of Guangdong gave it the perfect petri dish to mutate and spread. And spread it did. The strain we're dealing with today, clade 2.3.4.4b, evolved from that original lineage and made its way to North America in 2021, likely hitching a ride on migratory birds traveling the Atlantic flyways. Knowing all this, the big question is, how long can this virus stick around? Avian flu outbreaks don't follow a tidy calendar, and here in the US, containment is a slog. The 2014-2015 H5N2 outbreak lasted about a year before fading out. But H5N1? It's already been running for over 3 years worldwide, and experts believe it's got legs. Why? Wild migratory birds keep reseeding it. They migrate, poop, migrate, poop, and repeat, turning this into a year-round nightmare, not just a seasonal blip tied to cold weather. And here's the irony. Cage-free chickens, the gold standard for humane poultry farming, seem to be at even higher risk. Why? Because, well, they're not in cages. The US can't eradicate it, only contain and manage it. Vaccines are still in trials, and unless a lucky mutation weakens the virus, we could be looking at another 2 to 5 years of this intensity, maybe longer at a slow burn. Warmer months might ease infections in poultry, but wild birds guarantee it's always lurking in the background. Worst case, it becomes endemic, just part of the landscape, flaring up seasonally like a bad rash. Best case, aggressive control and a little viral fatigue cut it shorter, maybe 1 to 3 years. Either way, this is a marathon, and it looks like we're just getting started. Some might say the numbers are overblown, designed to spark panic. I mean, tens of millions of birds dead in just the last year. Sounds downright apocalyptic, right? But here's the reality. Most of those birds weren't killed by the virus. They were culled, preemptively wiped out to stop the spread. One positive test in a flock, just one, triggers a mass kill-off, even if the rest of the birds look perfectly healthy. Some argue this inflates the crisis stats, making the outbreak seem worse than it really is. Farmers? They're grumbling that the USDA's hair trigger response is more about optics than actual containment, a way to show they're doing something rather than applying practical, measured control. So far, media hysteria has far outpaced the actual risk to humans. The headlines scream bird flu outbreak, but human cases in the US? Just 2 confirmed since 2022, 0 deaths, and both were mild, coming from direct poultry contact. Skeptics call it a classic fear pump. Take a niche problem, blow it up into a national boogeyman, juice clicks, and justify budgets. And if that sounds familiar, well, it probably should. And just so you know, taxpayers have shelled out over $1 billion since 2022 to prop up affected farms. And it's usually the big corporate industrial players who benefit. Yes, we're paying for their losses out of pocket. And then again, when we're standing in line at the grocery store checkout, skeptics will point out that H5N1 might just be a convenient scapegoat, a crisis that keeps the cash flowing. That money is handed out through subsidies, insurance, and government bailouts, all while small farms get squeezed out of business. It's worth repeating, during a crisis, someone always profits. And to many, the timing of this outbreak seems just a little too good. Grocery bills are already stinging, inflation's got consumers riled up, and then egg prices skyrocket. Wild birds have carried flu viruses forever, so why is this strain so bad now? Maybe it isn't just about biology. Maybe it's about creating a narrative that sticks. There is no doubt the virus is real. PCR tests don't lie, but ramped up surveillance since 2021 means we're finding it everywhere, from backyard coops to bald eagles. Critics argue this hypervigilance creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Look hard enough, and you'll turn every story into a headline and every dead bird into a crisis. Older outbreaks existed, but they flew under the radar. Now, every dead duck's a data point, and to many, it smells like fear-mongering. Is it a clucking conspiracy? A feathergate? Coup d'etat? Foul play? A cackle cover-up? An egg saturation? Whenever in doubt, just follow the birdseed. Be sure to share your thoughts, opinions, conspiracies, and fried chicken recipes in the comment section below. We read them all. Hit the like and subscribe buttons and check out our channel for more great videos. You can also find us on X, Facebook, and Pinterest. From all of us here at American Outdoors, thanks for watching.